everyone, welcome to Thoughts of Treasures. My name's Connie and this is my craft room. Welcome in. Before we get started, I do want to say if you guys are new, please make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button depending on which platform you're watching on, so that you do not miss out of any of my videos that I put out. If you are already a subscriber or a follower, thank you for coming back, and come on in. We have got a good craft tonight. This is our little watermelon summer insert. This little guy goes into our little scalloped, I couldn't think of the word, scalloped frame. These are interchangeable and these are just the cutest little things, so you can just pop these right on in here, and I'm going to show you that at the end when it's already done. I do paint mine neutral, but you can paint it any color you want. You can do black, you could do white, you could do orange, it doesn't matter, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like to keep them neutral colored just so that all of my designs, I don't have to have different ones for each one, and then I can show you what they look like. But we are going to be doing this one. This is our summer watermelon. There is a set of 4 that goes with this. However, I'm just going to be doing the one to show you. If you are interested in seeing the other 3, just comment watermelon and I will get that information to you. So this does have little pieces. We've got our little frame, and then our watermelon is all in, it's like a little watermelon popsicle stick. It has different little pieces to it. So be careful with these kits. If you are, if you're getting one, make sure you understand that these are all little pieces that could get lost or potentially fall on the ground and you'll never find them again. Who's done that before? Not I. But here's the thing with any of my kits, and I like to just tell you this in everything in case you're new, with all of my 1/4-inch pieces, it does have a masking on there. Oops, let me throw that at you. It does have a masking on there. You want to make sure that you take this masking off before you paint anything. So in order to take that off, you can use your fingernail. I don't have any. So with that being said, we are going to use a little weeding picker. This is one of the old ones I had for my vinyl. And the stuff comes off very easy, but you want to make sure. Now, you still see that there's vinyl on here. I mean, not vinyl, there's still masking on here. You need to get all that off. This is what they call score marks. So the score mark, the laser cuts those, and it cuts the actual paper. It's not a very deep score or a deep cut with a score, but it still, however, cuts that, and so you're going to have to pull off all these individual pieces, which isn't bad. Now here's the fun, you can play a game when you do this. Make sure that you can go by here and just pull this off and see if you can get it off in one long, yay! It's always fun to do that. Alright, and then you can just simply throw that into the trash can. Now, with any of my pieces, again, that all the masking is on the front, on the 1/4-inch. Some of my kits are all 1/4-inch, some of them are all 1/8-inch, or some of them are a combination. With kits like this, I don't like to make them so bulky when they're layered up and layered up. If you do 1/4, you could have an inch-high piece of wood here. I don't want to do that because this does have this layer, and then it's got this on top of it. So that's already, if you did this all in 1/4-inch, that's already almost 3/4 of an inch thick. That's why you like to do the 1/8 on top of here. So it just keeps it smaller, and when you put it into the frame, it's not like overly powering and sticking up. That's just how I cut them. So first thing first, I personally do the back black. We're going to paint this back so that is finished, complete, and we don't have to worry about it. I always do that first. That way my colors on the front aren't, put on the dirty table. I do have a silicone mat down. It is in my Amazon storefront. If you guys are not familiar with my Amazon storefront, you can check that out on my thoughtsoftreasures.com page using my link tree. And if you're not understanding how the Amazon storefront works, Yes, there are products in there that I use, but however, if you grab my link and you don't like what's in my store and you venture off and find something different, it's still using my link will give me the credit for taking you over to Amazon. So whatever you purchase, whether it be $20, whether it be $300, they give me a little bit of a commission on that. And that just helps us out. It's kind of giving a gift without having to actually spend extra out of your pocket to buy stars, gifts, you know, whatever all them different platforms use. I honestly think it's better because there's nothing extra coming out of your pocket, and it's just like a little thank you to me. It allows me to get extra materials that I need to keep crafting. So, nope, actually I'm going to keep that out because I have to do a few of the other things. I'm going to get this dry real quick. And while I have the black out, I'm going to get my tape out and do my ant. And the thing I like about these little hearts, and I'll show you them in a second. Oh, here, you can see this better. The seeds, like they're supposed to be, the seeds are actual little heart shapes. And I just thought that was really cute. Instead of being the traditional little teardrop looking, you know, that kind of thing. Alright. So now we can set that to the side for just 1 second. And how I always put down my pieces is with a piece of tape. So be careful with this. Remember, some of these pieces can be very fragile. You don't want to jam them down on a piece of sticky tape and then try to manhandle them, because like this little ant, his little feetsies. You see that? You see how, I don't know if you can see that or not. See how thin they are? You know, they can break off in a second. So just don't jam them down and, you know, expect to manhandle them to bring them back up. Be very, very careful. That's my word, manhandle. Manhandle, don't manhandle them. But we're just going to paint our little ant all black. And our little seeds, aka hearts, we're going to paint them black. Now, that's all the black that I need. Yes. I'm going to put that into the little bin of water. And I'm just going to let that dry on its on its own. It's stuck to my finger. Alright, so now we're going to work on this piece. Crafter's best friend, baby wipes. But the thing about this silicone mat is, you know, everything just wipes right off. The only thing that you got to remember with silicone mats, the hardest thing to wipe up is chalk paint. Once that's dried on there, you really have to scrub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. So now, again, this is score marks. If it is intended for decoration, I would personally, kind of like stenciling, you want to pat, 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 so that your paint does not go into these lines. This is, however, not needed. This is just for placement. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint over this like nobody's business. It's just going to be. And I'm going to do my back. Did I get a yellow out? I guess I did not get a yellow out. See, that fell. We're going to use pale daffodil. I ran out of brushes. Might have to dig for some more. We're going to see how this is going to work. We're going to use pale daffodil. Let me put this in there. Get this out of my way. And like I said, this is not for intended. Oh, you know what? I still have, see that? And if for some reason you forget to peel up any of this tape, when you go to paint, you'll find out you didn't, because the paint will just moisten it up and it'll bring it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint over top of this. It may take a couple coats. You can if you want to make it easier to do. you can take white and do your base coat, primer it with white, and then go ahead and put this daffodil down, or your choice of yellow down. But I'm just going to go ahead and just do a couple coats of yellow and be done with it. Since this is just a backer piece, we're not intricately doing anything, and it's just smear some paint on it. I do like to keep things simple, but I like to do things pretty. So I'm going to dry in between each coat. Whether I do 3 or 4, I do apologize. But, you know, it's part of the process of making things pretty. Painting is painting. I just want to get this completely dry before putting on the second coat, because if you don't do that, you can potentially just smear your paint around. And we're going to put the second coat on. And I don't want to get it over on the edges, so I am being a little careful. So if you are new to me, I do go live on Facebook Monday through Thursday, and this is Eastern Time at 8:30. We just hang out, we laugh, we have fun, we play games, and then I upload all of my videos to my Facebook and YouTube and maybe other places between the hours of 5:45 to 6 and 6:15 Eastern Time. So you can check out all of those videos, or you can go to my website, DulceTreasures.com, and you can just type that in there. All of my kits are for sale, so if you see something on my website is not set up to take orders. They all have to be done personally through me. I know, but you don't have to tell me. At the current time, that's how we are operating, only because we're a 2-person show here, so it just gets too confusing, and we're learning as we go. But I do have live sales every Sunday. That's where I do a lot of my sales, where I do wood kits, printables, DTF transfers, shirts, tote bags, you know, anything of that sort. Stickers, vinyl cutouts. We do a little bit of everything then. And that's the best time, and that is on 7s. It's on 7s. It's at 7 on, right now I'm doing every other Saturday, and we're just going to probably keep it like that for a while. So if you're interested in checking it out, come on over to Facebook, Thoughts of Treasures, and check that out on Sundays at 7 Eastern. If I'm not on the one Sunday, I do put flyers out, so you know you can always join my channel to get notified when I go live. That is the best thing on Facebook. I think we're going to leave it like that. I like that color. That's really, really pretty. I think it's going to look good with the watermelon. And I let that completely dry. I dried it for a good amount, but we'll let that finish drying on its own. Might have to dig for some more. Hold on, let me dig under here for some painted brushes, because I'm not going to get very far. Let's put this over here. All right, let's get back to work here. All right, now that I got paintbrushes. So, I did learn the other day how to make a very amazing watermelon color. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. It's the easiest way. It turns out nice. Because, you know, I mean, you can use just plain red for your watermelon, but watermelon technically isn't red. It's more like a pinky red color, not so bright, you know, Christmassy red. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. We are going to take bright red. We're going to add that onto our plate. Well, we don't really need that much, Connie, but okay, let's just go with that. And I'm going to take, this is actually pink Polish or polish, however you want to call it, and we're going to take that and we're going to add a little bit at a time to our red. And we're just going to get a little paintbrush and we're going to mix that. And you probably don't need as much red as I put out here, so I'm going to have to mix one, you know, silly me. And just mix that. See how it's starting to, like, I don't know, it's just, it's the perfect watermelon color. It's not red and it's not, you know, pink. It's just a nice, pretty red color. I think it's perfect for watermelon. That's more like what you're going to look for. So we're going to stop there. And we're going to use that. And then once it dries, it's going to be a little bit darker. And I know I've got this one little tiny thing to do. And I mixed enough to make probably 3 or 4 of them. But that's okay. We're just going to go with it. I might do the summer in this color too. Maybe I'll do a pink like I should. All right. Let's just go ahead and use one of these brushes. I'm going to dip in my paint. And again, there's no score marks or anything on here, so I'm just going to paint this up. See it? Look at it. It's just perfect. It's more of a watermelon color rather than just using red. But if you don't want to mix colors, red works great. Give it one more coat. And these little inserts are just so much fun to make. They're nice to just change up your decor without having to put whole new things out. These little signs can store, you know, you can get yourself a little Tupperware bucket or Glad bucket or whatever, you know, Rubbermaid or whatever they're called. I always say Tupperware, but they don't think they make big ones like that. But I mean, it's just a perfect watermelon color. So remember, you add the pink to the red. We did this the other night on one of my lives, and I just learned, I was like, oh, this is like perfect. This is the perfect watermelon color. So I'm happy with that. Now for my little sticky, I'm going to use some darker brown because we have it upside the yellow. So trying to think what I want to use. Yeah, let's just go ahead and use this. It's just, well, that one's not open, so let's not use that one. Let's just use, we're just going to use burnt umber, why not? I just want a little bit, tiny little bit on here. I know it's a tiny little paintbrush, but that's okay. Yeah, but these little signs will store so nicely that, you know, they don't take up a lot of space. And they're so much fun to make. All right, there's my little stick for our little watermelon popsicle. All right, next up, let me get another piece. This is just, I find this to be very sticky. This is just painter's tape. I would not use this on projects that, you know, you're like making stripes for, because I'm thinking it's going to peel your paint up. This is painter's tape. It's extremely strong painter's tape. I mean, just be careful with it. So we got our two little stripes. Is it this one first? Yeah, that one first. So that one's going to be white, this one's going to be green. So let me just get a little bit of paint on here. I'm going to do the green first because I got to do the frame in the... So the big one's going to be green, that's going to be the outer part. I'm not so much going to make it full coverage because, you know, I don't know, they're limey green, but with stripy things in them, but I'm not doing all that. I'm just going to kind of make it really rough-ish. And do one coat. That's all I'm doing. And once we dry that, it's going to dry a little bit, you know, uneven-ish. It's fine. But this little guy has to be painted in the white too. We're going to do a white frame over our backer piece. What do I do with the backer piece? Oh. Under the plate, under our backer piece. I was like, what happened to it? So it's going to be our frame that goes around there. And we're going to do that in the white. Do I have white out? Yes. I'm just going to put a little white in the plate. And I'm also going to do this piece in the white. So we'll do that piece first. Oh, that's a lot of paint. I'm going to just wipe this off because I don't want all that paint showing. Not so much work. Oh, I didn't get any on that side. Huh. They are white. I just wiped off the edge because I had a lot of paint on that. A lot of paint. So I'm going to take some off, and I'll probably have to do a couple coats on this, but that's okay. I'm just going to take some off so there's not so much paint going on that's going to go over the side. But I will show you how you can fix that if, you know, you have white showing or yellow showing, and there may be from, no matter what you do, you're always going to see a little color peeking through. And I'll show you how to fix that. I mean, if you don't care that it's there, that's fine. You're not going to see it once it's in the frame, but, you know, we must take pride in our projects. They must look good. We're going to spend time doing them. We got to make sure that they look good. So like I said, this does come in a set of 4. You do not have to buy all 4 of them, but there is a set of 4, and if you're interested in seeing what the other 3 look like, you are, just mention watermelon. The watermelon set, and I can get that information for you. Or you can just message me and say, hey, Connie, can you show me what the other 3 look like? Because they are all different, and they're really cute. Does anybody decorate with watermelons? And watermelons and strawberries are a big thing for summer. dry that one more time. And put one more coat on and we should be good to go. And then I'll do my summer and my little flower. I think I'm going to try doing summer in a very light pink. I might do it in yellow. I mean in the white. I'm not sure yet. Well, I want it to be off different shade than the frame. Yeah, maybe we'll do it in pink. I talk to myself because, you know, I do change my mind as we go along. I am not that crafter who can say we're going to stick with X, Y, and Z because, I don't know, just when you're doing something, it's like, no, that needs to change. And it's okay, you have that option. All right, so that's there. Let's try that before I stick my hand in it. Let that dry a little bit. Now I am going to use, for this tiny little flower, I'm going to use this white marker. One up, one down, stop, let go, thank you. These pens are really, really nice. I do have them also linked in my Amazon shop. Get the name in there. Okay, they're really, really nice acrylic markers. This is probably the best ones I've ever owned, and I am very happy with them. These are the fine point ones. I'm trying to debate whether I want to. Now with white, you're probably going to have to go over 3 or 4 times. You know, it's just the way that white is. We're going to use our little white daisy. Around that circle. And I'm just going to keep going until I get the color that I want. Because the first 15 always seep into the wood. Exaggeration, but pretty close. Let me give this just a little dry. Sometimes when you dry it, you're not just running over wet paint all the time. But these markers are amazing. Definitely, if you're looking for acrylic markers, check these out. They are on my Amazon storefront. The link is on my thoughtsofTreasures.com page under our link tree. All right, and then I'm going to do the center yellow. They don't really have. It says high admission. Oh, adhesion. High admission, what? If I could read, it'd be better. And then there's our little daisy. So, you know, if you have little pieces, these markers are awesome. All right, now let's make sure this is dry. Now with this, we're going to start putting this little bad boy together. Oh no, we got to do summer first. Hold on. Summertime almost got forgotten. I'm gonna peel this off of here. This off of here. And remember, be careful tearing these off. This tape is extremely sticky. I think I'm gonna try candy cane. Cotton candy, not candy cane, cotton candy. I'm gonna see what it's gonna look like. Let me shake it up first. I don't want a bright pink. I just want a light pink. And I think this might be good. Kind of like a peachy pink. I don't know if I should, maybe I should just use a small. Bear with me while I paint some. And again, if you had an acrylic marker that you really liked for this part, that would work too. And I will show you what this is going to look like in the actual frame. Yeah, I really like this color. This is a very pretty pink. Just a very light, subtle pink. I'm hoping it's going to look okay on the yellow, so we'll find out. This is called Cotton Candy by Folk Art. Not candy cane, cotton candy. I know I said that earlier. Very pretty pink. Kind of like peachy pink. Definitely a summer color. I might have to go back and do a second coat, but the second coat is always so much easier than the first. It's such a, it almost looks white, but it's not. It's got a pinky tinge to it. It's hot down here. We're almost done, and then we've got this last piece to paint. I put the, I was making noise still. I was like, what in the world is that? Doing a quick second coat on here. And then we're going to hope and pray this looks nice on that yellow. I think it will. Alright, let's put that in there. Fingers away from there. Give us a quick dry. we'll let that sit and finish drying on its own. All right, I'm gonna start getting this applied. We're gonna put the frame on first. Whew, it's getting hot in this place. So now this is Dollar Tree wood glue. I really like this super glue wood glue from the Dollar Tree, and I'll show you what it looks like. If you've never used it, definitely give it a try. But I do recommend, be careful, please be careful when you clip the hole. You gotta cut the hole into it. This is what it is. I did this bottle with a really big hole. So my glue tends to come out really fast and really thick. Just be careful when you do it. So now, as you can see, there's yellow. We're gonna fix that up at the end. This glue does dry clear. However, I've got a lot of stuff laying in there. You want to get that to be smoothed down, because that's going to mess with, you know, just, it's gonna leave clumps. It'll dry clear, there'll be clear clumps, but there'll be clumps. So just kind of get some of it out. You don't have to worry about all of it. Just paint it on. Just so you get some of it out. You just don't want it all there. And we'll fix the edge up after. I will show you how I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to use, here's lots of little pieces. I'm just going to pour some of this glue right on my little mat. And I'm going to end up using this little guy, which is a little eyeshadow thing, and we're going to apply this with that. So again, you can see your little score marks through this, through the paint. So we're just going to paint that, put our glue on, and you don't have to put a lot on. On the frame part, I do like to get a lot on there, only because they can lift at different angles, and you want your frame to be on there good. This is gonna lay flat. You'll never, once it's down, it's down. So we're just gonna make sure we get that on there. Make sure it's in our score mark area. And we're good. Same thing. And this is really good for like pieces like this. Not so much that little tiny thing, but for pieces like this. You can just dibby dab a little on. You're not putting a ton of it on. And then we're gonna lay that up next to that. And then we're gonna get our green and do the same thing. You know, you could use a cotton swab, Q-tip, whatever you call them things. If you don't have one of these, you can use your finger too. You might just end up picking glue off of it later on, but trust me, I've done that many a times too. All right, next we're gonna do our little popsicle stick. That in there. Look at that, that's so cute. All right, now these little boogers, I'll take these off of here. I mean, they're little boogers. Remember, be careful with your ant, because the ant's got tiny little itty bitty feet. I'm just putting a tiny bit on the back of here and then shoving it in the hole. Dab, shove. Oh man, did I put it in backwards? Sure did. Alright, let's repaint that. I put it in. Out of all of those, I painted one backwards. Oh Lord. Leave it to me. It's alright. Things can be fixed. Mistakes happen. Out of all of those hearts, I messed one up. Out of all those hearts, there was 3 of them, Connie. We craft here live. This is not, I mean, this was recorded, but this is just in real time. I want you all to see. Mistakes happen. There's our, that's where we're at so far. Cute, cute, cute. Loving it. Loving it. All right. I'm going to, let's put our word summer on. So remember, carefully off of this because this is very breakable, especially words. They're just, you know, very flimsy. Not flimsy. I mean, they're very strong, but, you know, you break them in half very easily. And we're going to line this up. Ooh, I think I like that. I think I like that. Looks really pretty. And then we're going to put our 2 little embellishments on. We have our little flower. We're going to put our little flower just about there. And then we've got our little ant. Again, be careful. His little antennas and his little feetsies are very fragile. I don't really even like cutting the small things out on 1/4 inch. Let's put our little ant down here at the bottom. And that's our finished piece. That's it. That's all the pieces there are. Let me get this cleaned up and then I'll show you what it looks like in the frame and how easy it is to put in there. I just want to get this glue up so that I don't put anything in it. Because, you know, it's just my luck. That's just my luck. And I'll show you what it looks like and then we are done for the night. For the day. For this live. For this whatever we are. Let's see, which way does it go? This goes this way. Oh, that looks so pretty. So it just slips right in there like that. Let me show you how it slips in. Now, this likes rocking science. Oh, I want to show you how to fix that real quick. So it just slips right in there like that, and there's our frame. Isn't that so cute? So let me show you real quick. I told you I'd fix these edges. So you can just take your black marker, you can take a Sharpie, you can take just acrylic paint, and we're just going to go over the edges just simply like this. And again, you're not going to see this because it's going to be inside that frame, but you know what? You took all this time to make this beautiful thing. Let's just finish it up and make it pretty. So if you get stuff all over the sides, this will just cover it all up and you'll never know. Put our markers back on, and now look. Simple as that. Let me give it a good dry before I stick it in my frame and ruin the frame. Now when you use acrylic markers, they really doesn't take a lot to get them to dry. But there is a hole in this. 99% of the time I don't use it. They just slip right in. As simple as that. See how the neutral frame is just so much, you know, you can use lots of colors with gray matches and it's just perfect. That's why I like to keep the backer frames just something natural. White would work. When you run into white, when you do the frame, you might want to do it a different color instead of white because it'll blend in. But it might not. I mean, it looked good with this being white, that being white. All different possibilities. But that's what I have for you tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. Remember, if you want to see more videos like this, simply hit the follow, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I go live or when I upload a video, and I don't want you to miss them. So you guys have an amazing rest of your day, night, whatever time it is. And remember, thoughts become things and things become treasures. Bye for now until the next time. See you in the next video.